or not. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Shattered Tabletop Games. We are having some issues with StreamYard, but it's okay. We're all here now. And my bird is losing his marbles in the background. I don't know if you can hear him or not, but
not his marbles.
he's excited. He's very happy for us. We're playing a new game, new stream, new crew. It's super exciting, and I can't wait to delve into this thing. And first, we're gonna discuss a couple other streams real quick that I feel like they really need some notoriety and they need to get some attention. So I'm gonna pass it over to Juniper first.
That's me. Hi. So I actually have a couple of things to plug. Firstly, on Saturdays, I play in a D&D 5e campaign called the Moonstone Matriarchy over on D and Denial's Twitch channel. It's an all-female group. We have lots of drama, lots of honestly inter PC and PC conflict. It's really great. It looks like we are just about to go in and fight a coven of hags next session. So come and join us on Saturday for that. The other thing I would like to plug really quick is that I've written a one-page TTRPG. It's called Cat Capers. It's about you and a group of friends are a bunch of house cats who live with a cat person, and something happens that disturbs your peace in your environment, and you have to figure out how to deal with that. And the reason I'm plugging that is because we are doing a one-shot of that on D and Denial's channel on Tuesday, and the Speed of Candy will be running that. I'll be one of the players, and it's the first time anyone will have ever played my game, so I'm really excited about it. Yeah, so come join us for that as well on Tuesday over at D and Denial. Back to Ray.
I can't wait for that RPG. It looks like a lot of fun, and I get to play a cat. Why not? Just stone face stare at people while knocking things off the shelf. That sounds amazing to me. And absolutely check out Moonstone Matriarchy. If they can ever stop seducing doors, maybe they can get somewhere, but we'll just leave it at that. Heading into our next topic for this evening, before we get this ball rolling, I'm going to pass it over to M.
Hi. So, very exciting news. I am part of a 3, soon to be 4-person group that streams TTRPGs called Magical Miss. We just finished our first campaign 1, Diamante Beach. That was the Glitter Hearts system that we used. So it's a Powered by the Apocalypse system. It was magical girl themed. There were lots of laughs, lots of tears, lots of good times. And though we're taking a brief hiatus in June just because of life, we are looking to get started in July with a Winx Club themed campaign that is running off of a modified version of Glitter Hearts. So it will be full of fairies and fashion and just absolute drama to the extreme. So we would love to see you there. If you are perfect, the Nightbot already posted it for me. Phenomenal. So there is our link right there. Oh my God. And you can do !Magical Miss to find our link to our channel so you can catch up on all of our VODs. We also have all the VODs on YouTube, and follow our TikTok. Our team, the other girls that I work with are so great at the TikTok. It's so good. And we would love to share some more stories with you because we are just full of ideas, full of stories, and we are very excited for our next campaign.
Awesome. And if you enjoy PowerPoints in a way to defeat a BBEG, definitely check that out because it happens in that stream.
Our player made a legitimate PowerPoint to convince our BBEG to not destroy the entire world with the ocean. And it was the most magical 20 minutes that I've ever experienced.
It was very well done.
Oh yeah, absolutely it did. Because as a DM, a PowerPoint will sway me any day. Especially one with very nice graphics.
Now, with all of these chaotic descriptions out of the way, we are going to delve into the Wildsea, the brainchild, an amazing game created by Felix Isaacs, who is, I don't know if Twitch is going to translate well, but off to the side here, he will actually be running the show tonight. I'm going to be just kind of hanging in the background. I'm going to be watching chat, making sure to post up your funny comments and, let them know if you use channel points or anything crazy. But I'm going to pass it over to Felix to kind of talk about the game and things going on that he might have, and we'll roll into the intro after that.
Okay. In that case, I won't start with the Wildsea. I'll start with something related to cats because we've already had some cat talk. There are 2 books of Wildsea currently available. One which is, just about to hit shores, the first expansion. But I'm also making a little palate cleanser game called Pico, which is about bugs riding cats and going on adventures. And that'll be revealed hopefully at Gen Con this year with a few playtesty type things. So look out for Pico in the future. But for now, we're going to be playing Wildsea, which is a game of chainsaw ships on a treetop sea in a world where nature is in such ascendancy, you could do pretty much anything to it and it bounces back within minutes. Enjoy a game of destruction and greenery in a way that is surprisingly eco-friendly. The Wildsea is a much bigger game than I ever intended it to be. I remember specifically my publisher telling me a few years ago that we were aiming for about 200 pages, maybe 250 if you can't edit it down very much. And if you're interested, the 367-page rulebook is available from a lot of surprisingly good major retailers, or actually small local friendly gaming shops. Or it would be if we didn't get a really nice review from Quinn's Quest, which made us sell out in almost every country, which was really cool, and I loved it. But it does mean that we're now waiting for ships to bring new books, which is, it takes a while. But hopefully it will be available again next month. With that, I suppose I should start doing like game-related things.
You know what? Let's roll the intro real quick so that our lovely chat can see the characters that will be regaling them with a story this evening. And then once the intro is over, take it away. Do your DM, or in this game, it's Firefly, if I'm not mistaken. Unless you do the group DMing, in which case it's Dragonfly.
Yes, the Dragonfly rules do exist, but we won't be playing Dragonfly today. We're being classic Firefly.
Classic Firefly rules. Of the things you never think you'll say. Everybody, I thank you for joining us. I'm going to roll the intro, and we'll see you in just a moment. And it's all you, Mr. Felix. Have it.
Okay. Well, the Wildsea is a particularly strange world, so I feel bad throwing people into it without some kind of introduction. And this introduction comes in 2 parts, one from me and one kind of from the rest of you. I will say that the Wildsea is essentially a treetop sea sailed by ships, sometimes using chainsaws, sometimes using normal sails, and sometimes using far stranger methods of locomotion, which I actually believe your group have chosen for yourself. But we'll get into that in a bit. It is a place of a variety of cultures. There's very little stable land, mountaintop islands mostly, and the occasional kind of weird city built of wreckage and old ruins that root quakes bring up from the forest floor below. The trees themselves are about 2 miles high. or many stones throws if you want to be imprecise, which I generally do. And falling through the trees is kind of like falling into the sea, except there's a lot more branches, a lot more chemicals, and a lot more definite death when you hit the bottom. So don't do it, is a good general rule. There's a reason we use ships. But what the Wildsea is not is a big predetermined world. We have a few big pillars, like sea is made of trees, there are ships, and then lots and lots of tiny details that matter for characters. Everything in the middle is found out through play. It's a very low prep to no prep game because I'm an adult, unfortunately, these days, and I don't always have time to prep for things. But what we do is we start with a round of unsetting questions. I'm going to ask the hapless players, and Ray, you can join in for this too as well if you like, things about the world, and you can give me answers. These answers may be true, they may be false, they may be right or wrong. It doesn't matter. Any answer is absolutely fine, even if it conflicts with the previous answer. Some of these things may make their way into the game. Some of them almost definitely won't. So don't worry too much if you say something really, really weird. And the first unsettling question I'll ask, anyone that has an idea, throw it out there. What is the main attraction of the Festival of Three Masks?
It's a dance. So it is something that something that I feel like the Mothrin really put on, and it's a masked dance, which is very difficult for the Mothrin because they're mostly eyes and very round faces, and so there's not a lot of masks that really fit them super well. But it feels like it's an almost kind of like happiness, sadness, and then like kind of acceptance, and it's a story of balance. And so it is a dance performance. It's a dance for everybody involved, very like Carnival and Rome kind of vibe.
No, that's perfect. Someone else, give me a completely different answer.
It's hard to be put on the spot.
Yeah, that's why I do it. I can throw it in if you're thinking.
I've gone complete mental blank. I'm sorry.
I would say that the main attraction of the Festival of Three Masks is when one of the three masks that the small town is built upon begins to slide. With the amount of people there for the festival, this mask starts sliding into the sea. Everyone grabs ropes and tries to pull it back up again before there is a massive calamity that would destroy the entire town.
Ooh, spooky.
Okay.
See, answer any questions. You really can say anything. But let me throw you an easier one, because you know your characters, you've made your characters. What was the last thing you ate?
Bugs.
Crushed fruit juices.
Crushed fruit juice is a good answer.
Yeah, that's
If
pretty
you're feeling really confident, you can also tackle how did you eat this thing? Because, like, you know, might be a cactus, who knows? Might be a mushroom.
I would say Priscilla likes sweet things. You could say that she likes the sweeter side of life, and so she'll like crush up fruit juices and anything that's sweet, and even though she's doesn't quite have a face, just to make it more comfortable for everyone, she'll kind of put it in the spot of where her mouth might be at. and kind of absorb that.
That's good. That's really good.
It would just seem a little weird to everybody else if she just kind of started piling on her chest. So just to make it more comfortable for everyone, we'll put it in the general area where a mouth may be.
Yeah. It's a community thing, you know, it's and that's anyone got another answer? I'm happy to take another one.
Sure.
yeah.
Oh, I am a gal, which is a mushroom person. The last thing I ate was some bugs, and it was not because I enjoy eating bugs on a regular basis. It was because I haven't eaten bugs before, and it was like, I'm going to try this and see if it tastes good. So how that happens is, my mushroom person they're kind of like a short, fat, squat colony of mushrooms, and some of those mushrooms stick out on little stalks and glow. So the bugs, well, what did I eat? The kind of bugs that get attracted to little glowing mushrooms, if the light is glowing in the darkness. So I think what happened is one of them would have landed on the underside of one of these mushrooms. You know how they sit there with the little cap and the stalk. So I think what happened is a bug landed on the inside of the cap, and I went and ingested it that way to see what happened. Wasn't too keen on the bug, though. Yeah.
Still, props for trying new things.
Yeah. You never know if you don't try.
Anyone else, or should I throw you a final question?
I think the last thing that Cerise Holt ate, she is an ironbound. And her face is actually a mask, so it's a little odd. But she probably has a little corner right at the base of the mask where she can put in little random bits of metal that maybe are not usable to some degree. So she'll just put them right behind the mask and in the little hole, and I don't know, just kind of go from there.
This is a ship for which I imagine meal times are quite an interesting, you will gather around the table and then pretend to sort of eat in a vaguely normal way, all for the benefit of each other.
Well, Harlan appreciates Prixilla's penchant for sweet things, because they essentially make those milkshakes that are mega covered in stuff. So they make a fruit smoothie out of squished fruit, and then put an orange on top of it, and then a cookie on top of that, and all of that to get the sweetness and the nectar, and they put a flower on top to make it look just pretty.
Harlan's milkshake does bring Prixilla to the shipyard.
It's better than yours.
I sense the birth of a tree shanty here. It's going to be fantastic. Oh yeah, tree shanties, by the way, very much like sea shanties, but much more around trees. So it's
Oh, I'm so excited.
I can't credit myself for tree shanties. Someone else came up with that years ago. It really stuck.
Love it.
So in fact, that's a perfect final question. As the ship you're on, which we will describe in a second, travels, imagine you're singing a tree shanty. What might the title of this tree shanty be?
That's a hard one.
The Zephyr Stride.
Oh, I love it.
Love that.
I'm not going to ask you to sing me though. Just so you know, I like putting people on the spot, but not that much. I'm not that cruel.
I mean, I'm a very musical person. It probably wouldn't be that hard for me. I just have to listen to a different sea shanty or two and then go from there.
Damn, wish I could do that.
Felix will remember that.
Felix will remember that. So, given that we're talking about the Zephyr, which I believe is your ship, why don't you introduce your ship before you introduce your characters? Tell me about the ship you're riding on.
Yeah. I have to look back at my notes for the ship.
That's
Yeah.
what I said. I'm getting you to do it.
Yes. Prixilla's favorite spot is the workshop that she's got put in there, because the more heartbreak that she endures from not being able to get cuddles, the louder you hear the bangs and the booms from this workshop as she works on her explosives and metals, and she likes to invent things. So the more smoke you see coming from the workshop, the more you know that she's been hurt and died.
That is sad but wonderful.
So Harlan has lived many lives, but they are and always will be a messenger. And so they have incorporated trained messengers on the ship, so they are able to kind of send essentially carrier pigeons. It is some kind of very strange looking creature, like not exactly bird, not exactly reptile. It's like Archaeopteryx if it was still around. And
Oh, it might be.
oh, good. Love me an Archaeopteryx. And so they spend a lot of time like on the outside of the ship, like making sure that these little messengers are okay and like kind of tending to them and like giving them little pats on the head and everything. And there's also some winch claws to get cool stuff because Harlan is, as anybody, likes a good shiny thing. And the trees hold many secrets, so you gotta have a claw to go,
Nope, that is perfect. And Harlan is a word bearer?
Yes, they are a word
Yeah.
bearer.
The
I was
word
like,
bearer-
I can't remember the name of it, but the male one. Like, I was like,
Yes.
I want to be a post moth.
Yes. Harlan is a post moth. You carry
Amazing.
things from one place to another over a very dangerous leafy sea.
Do what I can.
Does anyone have the notes on like the actual hull of our ship and things? I'm just trying to go back to the Discord and I can't find it.
I, because I am as prepared as I always am, can tell you. Your
Oh,
hull is
amazing.
made of Exile's copper, which is a light metal. In fact, I can tell you a little about your ship. It is a small-sized, light-framed Exile's copper hulled vessel with a bite, which is what kind of moves it around the wave tops of voltaic runners. So it crackles with electricity and probably actually floats slightly above the leaves rather than resting completely in them. And your engine is an acid maw, which I believe is a big vat which you throw things into and hope that they somehow fuel things.
Good.
It sounds very trial and error, doesn't it?
That sounds right.
Hey, you made it. I didn't.
Oh yeah.
What does this ship run on? Kind of whatever, really.
My contribution to the Zephyr is being a mushroom person. I've contributed 3 things to this ship. One is that quite obviously we have to have essentially a mushroom farm or a night farm, which is a patch of soil upon which a bunch of different fungi and so on grow. Because I also have little glowing mushrooms kind of coming off my person, they have also, I'm going to say colonized, it's probably not the right word, but they have also colonized the ship a little bit. So around our ship, all over the place, we have little glowing mushrooms that light our way through the ship when it is dark. The last thing that Kanoko seems to have brought with them to the ship is a pod of spring foxes. So they're a group of spring foxes that kind of travel along with our ship and dance around in the canopies around our ship. And as well as being adorable, they also can warn us of dangers based on their behavior. Yeah.
Spring foxes are kind of like the dolphins of the Wildsea, foxes that leap in and out of the trees and branches. They follow the ships. They are.
Are they
just like
friends
foxes.
with our messengers that go around our ship too? Please tell me they're animal friends.
Ooh, I would say so. I think it's a friendship rather than an antagonistic thing. Yeah, I'd say they're friends.
Maybe it's like
Or
an
even
enemies
that.
to friends kind of thing.
Maybe.
Yeah.
All right, that's the ship.
That is your ship. Are we ready to begin proper?
I believe so.
Brilliant. In that case, I'll start you off in a completely non-dangerous and non-threatening situation.
Why don't I believe you?
Because you know what kind of GM I am immediately. Before I do that, actually, I should ask, have any of you played the Wildsea before?
No.
Then when we get to the mechanical stuff, I will start introducing things slowly and we'll work through it together.
Awesome.
Cool.
We have just 2 weeks of conventions, so that should be fresh in my head. If it's not, blame me. No, if it's not, blame the conventions and flights and scheduling. Don't blame me. That's a terrible thing to say. But yeah, we'll start off with your ship moving across the wave tops. The Wildsea, we describe it as a sea, and it does have many of the features of a sea, except, of course, no water. The leaves and branches do form peaks and troughs that kind of move like waves. Every now and then there's tides, although the tides are driven by the blooming of flowers rather than anything else. And there's a lot of life, not really fish, because of course fish don't do particularly well in trees, but insects, small animals, occasional big animals, huge animals, terrifyingly large animals that would scar the mind just from seeing them. It's a lively place. But what also has, which is very common to the sea, is storms, and that is what you are riding into now. There is, on the horizon, in the direction you're traveling, a storm of some kind. And you are definitely heading towards it. You could try and take a wider path, but I assume you're doing something important. Maybe delivering something. Because we do know that there is definitely deliveries going on throughout. Yeah, okay. Let's say you're delivering something. There is a port, which is maybe a day's travel ahead of you. You have a parcel of some kind that delivers this port. And that'll be our basic thrust for this session. Get parcel to port. Super easy, no problem at all. But the storm's in the way, and you'll have to cross through it at some point. However, you're not quite at the storm yet. So the first thing I'll do for this session is create a track. The track is called Riding into the Storm, and I'll give it 3 boxes and mark the first one. When I mark all these boxes, the storm will hit, and you will actually have to suffer the effects of this storm. But until then, it is just a looming presence on the horizon. So no worries. But in the immediate future, your ship is traveling with a kind of electric buzz just across the wave tops. The sun is nearly setting. Your on-deck mushrooms are just beginning to glow, and it is reasonably peaceful. We'll deal with some journey stuff in a sec, but for now, tell me, what are you doing on your ship?
Kinoko is attending to the night farm, the mushroom farm. They are just going through and systematically checking on each little mushroom that's blooming, giving them a little pat on the head, brushing off any dust that's on top of them. In some cases, like touching them to each other to almost cross-pollinate, cross-spore. I don't know what it's called when you're talking about mushrooms.
Well, cross-sporonate, I think, is definitely the technical term.
They are cross-sporinating some of the mushrooms in their mushroom farm, and they are just very gingerly stepping around it through this farm and tending to all the mushrooms.
Nice.
That is adorable.
Surprisingly nice ship you've got for a weird acid moored electric thing. It's
What's going on?
So, what I will do, now we know roughly what's happening on the ship, mostly mushroom based apparently, I'm going to set the journey track, which is just another kind of track which just counts down to your destination. Journey tracks are easy to fill. In fact, I'll ask you to start filling it in a second. I won't tell you how long the journey track is, but sometimes you'll know. Depends on the GM, or Firefly, as we use here. But what I do need to know is who is at the helm and who is on watch.
Cerise will be at the helm.
Okay.
For
What's
this.
the helm of your ship like?
Ooh.
Because it could be anything from like old style ship's wheel to like bank of metallic controls. It's kind of up to you.
I would think it's kind of like a little mix of both. Like it's got the wheel with like the spokes and all that for the easy handhold, and then just like little panels with like the buttons and maybe a lever or two here and there.
Nice. Those levers are probably slightly chewed by spring foxes when they get bored. So they've all got those little teeth marks in them. Anyone who owns a pet knows the back of my laptop cables covered in tiny cat teeth marks.
Yes.
You learn to love them. So yeah, that's wonderful. When you're at the helm during a journey, you have essentially 3 choices to make. You can either drop anchor, which stops you dead. You can make a kind of normal progress, which we call cutting a path, because you are essentially cutting through the treetops as you move. Or you can forge ahead, which gets you to move very quickly, but if there's any problems, you're going to run straight into them. How fast are you moving? Are you cutting a path or forging ahead?
Just cutting the path,
Okay. That means whoever's on watch, whatever they roll, you will get a little chance to react to before you go straight into any of the disasters that are about to happen. So, who's on watch? Who wants to see what disaster befalls this ship as you travel?
I feel like I would be appropriate for on watch since Kinoko's working on her mushrooms, and I feel like Harlan's making sure that their packages are getting ready for delivery and that it's being checked through properly. So
Harlan
would
is
leave
holding
me.
the package above their head with one set of arms, and the other set of arms is like this as they're looking at it like, this is going to the right place, right? Yeah, okay, cool.
Priscilla doesn't have eyes, but they do sense things. And he's sensing that Kinoko's mushrooms is definitely getting more action than Priscilla has had in like weeks. Feeling a little bit bitter about that. It's like, oh, so Kinoko's mushrooms are getting kisses. Okay.
I mean, you're free to join in if you want.
Just play a normal game, they said. Lovely people, they said.
Yeah, I lied.
Yes, 5 minutes in, kiss the mushrooms, kiss the mushrooms. That's brilliant. In that case, Priscilla, I would like you to roll me 1d6. When you're on watch, a single d6 roll will give you a result of 6, which is peace, 5 or 4, which is order, or 3, 2, or 1, which is nature. And that gives you a little bit of randomness, and me as a GM, a little bit of randomness to help work out how your journeys go.
I got the 6.
Okay, peace, lovely. Even though you have peace, that just means the sea around you is peaceful. I'm still going to roll a die myself to see how dangerous your peace is.
Oh no.
Lovely. And you don't get to know the results of that roll. You have to pick it up from context clues, like whether you get even or not. But as your ship kind of charges its way, not too fast, but not too slow either, across the rustling waves, you do start to notice that there is a change in the waves around you the closer you get to this storm. You are not the only thing, your ship, that is sparking. Every now and then there are these little kind of bright blue pulses from within the waves. And when you draw close enough to them, you realize that there are other mushrooms, not just the mushrooms on your ship, but wild mushrooms growing that seem to be pulsing in time with this distant storm. Every time you see a little kind of crackle of lightning or hear that kind of quiet rumble of thunder approaching, these mushrooms give a little pulse and release a little burst of electricity. Not immediately dangerous, but potentially useful.
Probably call over to Kinoko and be like, "Hey, Kinoko, have you noticed these mushrooms that are like giving off a little bit of zing?"
I'm writing down zingy mushroom.
No, let me see if I can talk to them.
I had no idea what voice was going to come out until it came out. I'm sorry, this is now Kinoko's voice. Okay.
That is the best.
Okay,
Let me
well,
see if I can talk to them.
we have now we've declared that we're going to talk to mushrooms. We do have mechanics for that. Do you have in your languages section? Do you have the language Gaudin, which is the language of mushrooms?
I believe I do. Let me just double check that real quick. Languages. I do, yes. I only have one point, I guess, in that. But
One
yes, I
one
do have
rank technically is the thing, but one
one
point
rank.
works too. One rank in a language is a smattering. It means
Okay.
you could probably ask for directions, but you might get the answer wrong. That kind of thing.
Okay.
Like you've been in a country for like a week and you can just about get around, but then someone asks you more than like, what's the weather like today? And you're just kind of like, that's a smattering of a language. As an aside, I've worked as an English teacher in many countries. I have a smattering of languages in exactly that way, because it's it's amazing knowing a little bit of a language, just enough to be not useful with it.
It's enough to be dangerous.
Yes, yeah, pretty much. But languages, the languages you have don't just hold linguistic information, they hold cultural information and general knowledge about the world. So if you would like to roll your language, then we can find out more about these mushrooms, or possibly, if they're capable of it, communicate with them.
Sure, I would love to do that.
So the way you do a roll in Wildsea is you choose an edge first. Edges are very broad. There are 7 of them. Every character has access to 3. Is there an edge on your sheet, Kinoko, that you think would particularly help you in this situation? And if you're not sure, just tell me what your edges are and we'll go through them.
I'm not entirely sure. I currently have instinct, tides, and veils. So either instinct or veils, I guess.
Yeah, instinct is, well, actually, all 3 of them could work. Edges are broad by definition, like they are meant to be as broad as possible. They're just the way you approach tasks. Instinct is relying on your gut for things. Tides is relying on your knowledge of the sea, and veils is relying on your knowledge of ciphers and secrecy and stealth. So any of the 3 could work. They just flavor your action.
Okay. In this case, I think I'm leaning into instinct, being that I'm attempting to communicate with mushrooms fairly similar to me. So I'm not just going to rely on my knowledge of the language. I'm also going to use other non-verbal cues. So body language, I don't know, mushroom body language, whatever, changes in the glow, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, classic mushroom body language, just like all mushrooms. Yeah. So it's an edge gives you 1d6. You can then add a skill or a language. In your case, we're going language, and that gives you a number of d6s equal to how many ranks you have, which I think for you is a smattering 1. That's 2d6 in total. And then, importantly, you can, if you have an aspect which is going to help you, that can give you an extra d6. Aspects are unique things on your character sheet, and they have track of their own. They have special rules as well. But even if the special rule doesn't apply, if the aspect is themed towards what you want to do, it can give you an extra d6. So if you have something particularly mushroomy, that could probably help out.
I do have some particularly mushroomy stuff. So I have, we'll see if we can make this fit. I have naturally hallucinogenic. So my sheddings have mild psychotropic properties. So I'm hoping that my ability to translate psychotropic type hallucinations will help me to communicate with these mushrooms if they are also hallucinogenic mushrooms.
Oh, that is perfect. That's good. That's an extra d6. So that is, I think, 3d6 for you.
Awesome.
There are other things you can do to add stuff to a roll, but we'll keep it simple at the start. So
fantastic. And I'm looking for the highest number.
You're looking for the highest one, and whether you have any doubles.
Here's where the Australian starts swearing. Motherfucker! The highest number was a 4, and I have a double 1. But yes, there is a double.
No. Doubles of any number, absolutely fine. There is no good or bad. Doubles are just doubles. You're fine with that.
Okay,
and a 4
fantastic.
Is not as bad as it could have been. A 4 is a conflict.
Okay.
So something good and something bad. I will give you the bad, and you can give me a bit of the good. What do you want to get out of communicating with these mushrooms? And describe how it looks, and then I'll tell you how it goes slightly wrong.
Okay, so how this looks is Kinoko kind of grabs hold with one hand. They do kind of have like 2 arms and 2 legs-ish. They're vaguely humanoid shaped. So they grab onto a handy rope with one hand and lean off the edge of the ship, attempting to sort of actually forward to mushroom clump, touch some of these mushrooms just to kind of get a mind meld situation going. So yeah, very precariously leaning off the edge of the ship, holding a rope.
Okay, perfect. And that is a wonderful lead into the bad part of this, which is that you do get some information. These mushrooms and this storm, they are linked intrinsically. This is not some opportunistic burst of electricity that's happening. This is a living storm that haunts this area. And the living storm has grown up in and around these fields of electric mushrooms. And now it will count you as one of them, which means that whenever that storm crackles with lightning, you will also crackle with lightning.
Oh, wow.
Oh, no.
I don't know if that's really cool or if that's horrifying. Like, is that
It could be both, because your body is probably not designed to survive crackling with lightning for too long. Just whenever I mention lightning in terms of the storm, just give me a little reminder that you're about to take some damage.
Okay, sure.
But it probably won't last forever. Who knows? It's
Okay.
and technically, if you want to do it the proper way, on your character sheet, you should have a space for extra aspects, essentially, like temporary aspects and things, and you can just put down lightning charged, and it will remind you that it's a lightning based thing. But temporary aspects, they normally leave after a scene or two. They're not long term things. So I have not doomed you to electricity forever. Don't worry.
Awesome.
But the other thing that comes out of this roll is a twist, which is what the doubles represents. A twist is a small and unexpected consequence of whatever happened, which could be good or could be bad. And the thing about twists is they are not decided by the player that rolled them, and they are not decided by me as the Firefly. They are decided by anybody else at the table.
Ooh.
It democratizes some GM roll.
Ooh. Okay.
I have an idea for a good twist, which could be anything from like you get a resource from doing this thing, or you learn something new, or a new extra element enters the scene. Twists are really kind of up to you. If you have an idea, throw it out to the table. If we like it, we'll go with it.
Well, since these mushrooms think that Kanoko is one of them, can we communicate with them through Kanoko? Like, can we talk to Kanoko and these mushrooms are able, like they're essentially a translator?
Yeah, no, I love that. That's perfect.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
No, that's a perfect twist. That's a really good example of a twist. So in that case, from now on, not only you slightly electrically charged Kanoko, let's treat your smattering of Gaudim as like a full 3 ranks of Gaudim. Whenever you're doing mushroom-based stuff with these particular mushrooms, you are now fluent in electric mushroom.
Fluent in electric mushrooms. I love that.
Again, a phrase I've never used before, but one I quite like now.
It's Kanoko to electric mushroom.
Electric Mushroom, the next band name.
But yeah, there you go. And that is essentially, in kind of a microcosm, a little bit of travel. And the Wildsea, as a game, does little bits of travel and then larger scenes, which involve more people and more things happening. And we're only doing a tiny bit of travel today. The travel track is very short, but we do need to fill some more of it before we hit this storm. So I'm going to do one more mark on the hitting the storm track, which is very dangerously close to being full, as your ship continues moving towards this bank of dark lightning crackling clouds. And I will ask, who is now in charge of the ship? Because anyone can drive it. It is up to you. You can keep the same person. You can switch up who's doing what. I don't mind. Who is at the helm and who is on watch?
Anyone want to change out?
I'll take the helm. Harlan kind of like taps up and taps Cerise on the shoulder and is like,
Excuse me. I kind of want to drive a little bit because I got these 2 arms and I'm already holding the package like a hamburger just to make sure that it's nice and safe. So I'd like to use my other 2 hands because I'm getting a little this is not exactly couth for me to say, but antsy. So can I drive for a little bit, please?
Of course. You can always drive whenever you want.
You're the best. You know, this hat, although it is my word bearer hat, sometimes I like to think of it like it could be a chauffeur's hat. So I'd like to test out my driving a little bit more, see if I'm like really good at this.
I love this so much. Sorry, that's really good.
I
That's
love Harlan.
always very important.
That's perfect. Harlan,
I can do it.
Tell me what speed you're going in the ship. Do you carry on at this kind of normal speed, or do you speed up to try?
No,
and get
Harlan floors it.
Okay, brilliant.
They have lived many lives, and on this one, they feel like they just wanna see what's gonna go on. They just want to see what's happening, and like they essentially keep getting reincarnated and like repupating. Like we talked about this a little bit in session 0, but some of the inspiration for this character came from Jadzia Dax from Deep Space Nine.
That's a good reference point.
And so I feel like this iteration of Harlan just wants to test things, wants to learn, wants to see, and they're like, "What happens if I go fast?" And so they're flooring it.
Well, I love that. You are flooring it, and that means that whatever you roll on your next watch roll, whoever's on watch, you're going to smash right into, basically. It might be a good smash. You never know. It depends how I roll as well. But who's on watch?
I think I'm still on watch.
Okay, roll it. 1d6.
Okay. I got a 1.
Okay, that's nature. So you have not quite filled up the hitting the storm track, but you have actually filled your journey track, which means you're about to hit something which might interrupt your journey. And I know exactly what this is going to be because I am a cruel person. Your ship moves. Oh, and I should roll the threat. Sorry, there's a.
Oh no!
Okay. I definitely know what it is. Your ship is moving forward at an incredible pace. The distance between thunder and lightning, the time between it is shortening and shortening. Kanoko, the closer you get to this storm, the more you feel this electricity surging around your body. It's not quite enough to singe you yet, but it will be soon. And you are now lighting up whatever room you're in more than the mushrooms glowing around you. So that's fun.
Oh, wow.
Also, as you draw close to the storm, you see more and more mushrooms. The kind of glowing ones that are pulsing out this electricity. There are more and more of them. But you also see something ahead of you. The Wildsea is made of iron roots, the huge 2-mile trees that you're sailing along the top of. But some iron roots are even taller than others. These are called tall shanks. And tall shanks are anywhere between like 3 and 6 miles high, proper like Yggdrasil world tree type things. There is an iron root ahead of you, but it has been colonized almost completely by these mushrooms. So with every lightning strike, the entirety of this iron root lights up, electricity coursing up and down it. Almost all the leaves have been burnt off by the constant shocks. But even in the absence of this electricity, some lights continue to burn on the iron root's trunk. And it is one of those lights that heads worryingly fast towards your ship as you approach. You are moving too fast to stop at a safe distance, and you have moved into the defense perimeter of a small kind of tall shank colony, which is now firing at you. On the good side, I guess, it's firing something electric-based, which at least one of you is going to deal with slightly better than normal. On the bad side, it's firing something electric-based, and your ship runs on electricity. So, yeah, have fun.
Is there like a spindle that I could hit reverse and floor it?
So this is the perfect time to introduce a ship roll, which is much easier than a character roll. Your ship has 6 ratings. You need to choose a rating that you think is going to help the most and roll a number of dice equal to the number of ranks you have in that rating. So whichever rating you choose is up to you. You could, for example, choose armor and try and kind of weather this incoming blow. You could choose tilt, try and like tilt and bend to avoid it. You could choose speed, try and outpace it so it hits behind you. Whatever you choose, up to you.
I think logistically, speed is probably the smartest thing to try because we already go fast.
Okay.
I would like to just be like a little blip in their little defense ring and just be like, oh, what was that? Definitely not a crew of cool kids. No, not at all. What? Psh, nah.
Okay, fair. Then you go for it.
What do I roll?
You roll a number of d6s equal to your speed rating.
Where is our speed rating?
For your ship, I can find it out for you. I am a master of things. There's 3. Oh, wow. You've got some ratings. So I've just realized that your stealth and tilt is 0. That'll be fun. But your speed is 3, 3d6.
It is a good thing that we're not doing those. I rolled all 5s.
Okay. There's another conflict with a twist. It is the most common result in the Wildsea and one of the nicest ones for me as a GM. Okay. So this time, I will tell you the good part, and you can supply a bad part for me. Then we'll deal with the twist. The good part is this does not overload your engines. This bolt of light is actually, as it hits you, you realize a mushroom tossed by some kind of trebuchet type thing. It kind of spirals down, bounces off your deck. There's an explosion of electricity, but it doesn't get anywhere near your engine. You're absolutely fine. What bad thing happened there as a result of this? Harlan, if you'd like to tell me, you're the one who put us in this situation.
I sure am. I think that these mushrooms, this mushroom colony, they have the little thing that says this mushroom colony will remember this, and our ship is so distinct that they will not easily forget.
Oh, nice. In that case, I'm going to turn this into something, Kinoko, I'm so sorry in advance, for you, which is I would like you to mark a point of Maya. Maya is found generally on the bottom left-hand side of your character sheet, depending on the character sheet you're using. Mayas are negative things which affect characters when they witness something terrible or they do something terrible themselves. Marking 1 box next to a Maya just means you role play whatever the Maya is. Marking 2 boxes, it comes in mechanically as well.
Okay. So I am marking a point next to so Kinoko is standing there with little sparks around all over them, and everyone else on the ship would already know that Kinoko has kind of hidden eyes all over them. And so I think what everyone sees at the moment is Kinoko starts going, and all of those little eyes start twitching strangely as the sparks happen all over them. Yeah.
Hey, Kinoko, are you good? Are you okay?
This feels really weird. I don't like this.
So weird bad, right?
Weird bad, yeah.
Harlan takes their hands off of the wheel, still holding package like hamburger. He goes,
I don't think I should drive anymore right now.
If it helps, I think you did a brilliant job.
that was good. That was good.
I love that. Yep.
Cerise will grab the wheel and be like, okay, I can take it back from here if you want.
You had to go. You did very well.
You did very good.
I went so fast, Cerise. Did you see that?
You didn't go very fast. You went so fast. It was very good.
More and more electric mushrooms rain down around you as you have this conversation.
She's like trying to get out there.
And we also have a twist to deal with. So, something small and unexpected as a result of this. If anyone has any ideas, not you or me, obviously, but if anyone has any ideas, throw them out there.
Maybe one of the electric mushrooms that's being tossed at us lands in the mushroom farm and could potentially take root there.
Oh, I'm happy with that. Yeah. In that case, I am going to give you a new specimen. You should have on your sheet some resources: specimens, whispers, salvage, and charts. Grab a new specimen, sparky rooted mushroom.
I imagine that like these little mushrooms that are like being done, since Kanoko can kind of like speak mushroom, she's just like they're just hearing like wee just throughout.
Yep. Just a rain of
Wee!
Love it.
Just everywhere.
I like it. And in fact, other people like it too. But I tell you who does not like it: the inhabitants of this tall shank. Because issuing from this tall shank, as if through a massive loud hailer of some kind, you hear a rather tinny voice shouting, "You're bringing the storm closer! Stop whatever you are doing!"
What?
Why? We're not doing anything. We're just passing through.
Sorry, for dramatic irony, at that moment there's another crackle of lightning in the background, and that one, for the first time, is strong enough to hurt you. Take 1 mark of spark damage. Volt damage.
We're not doing anything. We're just passing through.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. When you take damage, it is taken to any one of your aspects. You just put a line through one of the empty boxes.
Okay.
Trixilla is gonna take advantage of this moment. It's gonna be like, excuse me, but do you feel like there's a spark between us?
Oh, Jesus.
Kiss more mushrooms.
Okay.
No, just me, alright.
Priscilla, I appreciate what you're going for, but I think we have some other things that we need to deal with. Like the fact that apparently the storm is our fault?
What heart wants what the heart wants?
I mean, fair enough. You know, tale as old as time and all that good stuff. But is there a way? This voice is getting me all week, and so my throat is not 10 out of 10 yet. But is there a way that I could roll a skill check to like check on the storm? Or like roll it with an edge, because I have sharps as an edge, and I feel like with Harlan's many lives, they have at least an approximate knowledge of many things. And I just kind of want to know like what this storm actually is, if it's like because of the mushrooms, if we are bringing it closer, if like the fact that our ship is copper is something to do with it. Okay.
Like what we're doing to make it worse, kind of thing.
What we're doing to make it worse.
Yes, I am very pro this move. So let's put this action roll together. Choose an edge, choose a skill that you think is relevant, or a language, one of the two, and an aspect that you think might help out.
I am going to choose sharps as my edge, and then study as my skill.
Yep.
Oh, there's a bug. Because I have a point in study, or a dot.
Rank, dot,
Rank,
I don't mind.
rank. I have a rank in study, and then an aspect. Oh, the aspects are down here. That's right.
Yeah, any thematically useful aspect can help.
I am going to use Oathbound, which is you're immune to chemical, acronautic, and mesmeric effects designed to draw information from me. So I kind of want to like get into their mind, but not have them come into mine.
Yeah, fair.
All right.
Okay, roll it.
Cool.
This time, we are going to introduce what difficulty is like in the Wildsea. Because when you do something that is particularly difficult, dangerous, or dramatic, and I think trying to scope out the specifics of a distant living storm, you cut. You do not cut dice, you roll the same number of dice, but you cut results, starting with the highest. I am giving you a cut of 1.
Okay.
What did you roll?
So I had a 2 and a 3, so that is a 2.
Okay, so that is a disaster. There is no failure on the Wildsea. There is only triumph, conflict, or disaster. A disaster is things go as bad as they could possibly go, essentially. But it doesn't mean you failed. You do indeed learn something about this storm. Tell me how you're studying it, and I'll tell you how it goes horribly wrong.
While still holding the package over my head, I use my other hands to reach into my messenger bag, and I pull out a very old copy of Meteorology and You. And I start flipping through it. I find like a Post-it note to like one of the pages, and I go,
Okay, living storms. In your time in the Wildsea, you probably won't come across that one. Living storms. If you do come across one,
and I start reading.
You find the precise name and nature of this living storm. This living storm is simply called Jaw. Jaw. Jaw is a particularly hungry living storm. It searches for food with lightning, and it roves around its territory, choosing a different delicacy every few months. At the moment, it seems to have latched on to mushrooms.
Oh no!
However, in studying this storm, in thinking about it, in drawing it, living storms are arcanautic, which is kind of the Wildsea's version of weird magical stuff. They're arcanautic creatures. You scrutinize it, it scrutinizes you back. And that is the moment where your ship's engines don't cut out, but they blaze with stormlight, and your ship suddenly surges forward far faster than even you were going before. I would like whoever's at the helm, which I think actually might... Oh, no, it's Cerise now. Yes, Cerise. Yeah. Please make a tilt roll to see if you can avoid smashing straight into the bark of this tall shank.
Oh, no.
Tilt is 0. That's
great.
Yeah.
A roll of 0 means you roll 1d6 and you treat any triumph, which is a 6, as a conflict. So it's always going to be at least a little bit bad.
Okay. Here we go. Dice, do not forsake me. 3.
That's a disaster. Okay. Your ship slams straight into the bark of this tree. The colony, which you can now see that was lobbing mushrooms at you, they are shouting at you through the loudspeaker they've got as you approach, like, no, turn! And you just slam straight into it. Bark explodes everywhere. There is a great shattering and the sound of wood warping and twisting. And with a great thud and a hell of a jolt, your ship comes to a stop. You have buried yourself halfway inside the bark of this tall shank. And you all take... I'm going to roll this one. You lucked out. 3 marks of blunt damage. So on one of your aspects, the aspect you think is most appropriate to be damaged by this, mark off 3 boxes.
Does it have to be 3 on the same aspect, or can you spread it out?
It does have to be 3 on the same aspect.
Okay.
What if one of my aspects makes me resistant to blunt?
Then you reduce that number by 2.
Oh, delightful. Okay.
Very nice.
See.
When it comes to track length, do we need to take it off a track length of at least the... like if we're taking 3 damage, it has to be taken off an aspect with at least 3 as the track length. Is that right?
We're getting into advanced Wildsea rules now. If you want to damage a track that is technically shorter than the damage you're taking, whatever goes past the end of the track becomes a new temporary injury that you have to live with for a bit. The injury having a number of boxes equal to the extra damage that you didn't take, basically. So in this example, you might do like, I'll absorb 1 mark of damage here, that maxes out that track, and I'll take 2 extra marks and call it like broken leg. And then the next 2 actions you take where your broken leg would affect it, you'd have cut or some kind of other like deleterious effect thing, and then your broken leg would clear up or heal over time or be healed specifically.
Okay.
But I rarely bring that stuff in for one shots. I generally just go for marker track that is long enough. But you are starting a campaign, so you do whatever you like with your characters.
So we took 3 blunt damage.
Yeah,
But
3 marks of blunt damage.
Does thick skin count as not taking too much?
Read out the description of thick skin.
A history of breaking yourself while breaking other things has toughened you up.
It doesn't specifically reduce this damage, but it's a useful thing to remember. If you're rolling to react to incoming damage, which you often do if you're like fighting a creature or you have caused this damage yourself, thick skin would definitely give you extra dice to try and avoid the effects of it.
Okay.
But when it's crash ship into tree damage, your individual aspects don't do much unless they specifically resist that kind of damage. But it's a good thing to think of for later.
Is the tree okay? Like it's not. We haven't damaged it enough to.
It's not going to fall
or
over.
anything.
Okay.
It's a big tree. But is the tree okay? It's a good thing to come back to actually in a second. Should we take a few minutes of body break as we're about to enter essentially a new area?
Sounds good to
If
me.
that works for you.
Sure.
Yeah,
I can
I'm
do
good
the
with
new
that.
coffee. Yeah, yes, please.
Oh goodness. Ooh, nope.
I don't know how you do body breaks on the stream, so it's
Ray, you're muted if you're trying to
Ray.
talk.
Ray!
Ray.
Ray's muted.
Ray, you're on mute.
No, I'm not. You're on mute. I'm just going to move everybody backstage for the time being, and then when everybody comes back, I'll pull everyone back to the screen. So everybody sit tight, and we will be back momentarily. Welcome back, everybody. I'm going to bring everybody back up into the main screen here, and we are going to resume our game. Thank you to the chat for joining us on this lovely adventure. I just want to take a brief moment to give a shout out to, I'm going to butcher these, Sue Diver and Liam P. Vaughan. They provided the music that you're hearing, the ambience and the intro tunes, and hopefully we'll be getting some more from them. So go to their YouTubes, give them follows. It would be much appreciated. I'm going to bring everybody forward. Here we go. Welcome back, everybody.
I feel very forward.
Hello.
We're
I'm
back.
also a different position on the screen now, so that's really confusing. But okay.
I'm like, things are different. Oh, there we go. Okay.
There we go.
Hey,
Perfectly in balance.
Things
The
are
world
as
is
they
right
should
again.
be. All right. Well, I'm going to go back to making comments in the chat.
Bye, Ray.
I'm back in the driver's seat. The mushroomy electric-y driver's seat.
Well,
The
I'm
very
doing
glazed
better than
heart.
maybe having Harlan in the driver's seat at this rate.
Listen, there's
I think
always
Harlan did a
some weird
fantastic
thing
job.
that I give my
Yeah.
characters, and if Harlan's
Oh,
thing
yeah.
is that they can't drive, cool. That works.
Also, I love a good chaotic character, like the character that pushes the red button and goes, "Let's see what this does." I feel like Harlan
Yeah.
does a good job of that.
It's all about the scientific discovery.
Hmm
There you go.
Frixilla's fine with Harlan's Fast and Furious.
Do, 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 do.
I was trying to think of a mushroom-based Fast and Furious joke, but I really can't because I don't know the names of all the Fast and Furious movies, so I'm useless here.
Oh,
Mhm.
no.
Fun fact: I went to high school with the love interest in Fast and the Furious 3, Tokyo Drift. Like she's Australian. I went to high school with her. So
Oh
yeah,
my
there you go.
god. That's incredible.
Fast and Furious Zephyr Drift. There you go, got it.
There we go.
It's,
Love
it's
it.
very torturous, but I did one.
There we go.
Love it.
Okay, I'm ready when everyone else is.
Yes.
Where'd you go?
Good to go.
Okay. In that case, your ship is stopped. Your ship is half buried in bark. Your ship is not looking perfect, but not too damaged itself. However, you all took some damage. Tell me what on you hurts right now.
There's probably a few cracks on Cerise's little mask face, and probably a little bit of damage elsewhere. Nothing too serious, but
In an attempt to keep the package up above their head and unharmed, Harlan like fell and skidded, so now there's like a not purposeful hole in their shirt. It's not a moth hole, it's like a hole.
And they go,
oh,
ah, beans.
I love Harlan.
Well, this is a prickly situation.
Have you been waiting the whole time to make that joke? Because
You have no clue. I've been like, oh, I need to find some like puns.
Can we
I've got a list of them. So
no.
a few of my blooms are quite crushed, and oh dear, some of my spines have been a little bit broken, and I just got them done too.
Kinoko took a bit of a tumble as the ship hit the tree, so some of their little mushroom clumps are hanging a little bit more limply, like they've almost sort of started to break off a little bit, and I think they've got a little bit of smoke coming off some patches of them because of the extra lightning. They're a little, just a tad fried.
Perfect. Okay then, let's see what happens. Now you've found a place where you may or may not be welcome. Hedging on the knot for this one, because it's at that moment that from the almost bare but mushroom-clad branches of this tall shank above you, a chain unfurls and hits your deck. and a figure slides down it. As they impact the copper of your deck, there is a little spark where they hit. In fact, you can now see there are sparks almost everywhere. Anywhere that something touches something else, there are little jolts of electricity. The storm is definitely drawing closer. But there has not been a lightning strike in a while, Kinoko. You realize you haven't singed yourself since the last big jolt. But this figure that dropped down is an ironbound, a shipwreck given or grown sentience. They have a huge beard of rivets that takes up almost the entirety of the front of their body, which kind of flicker and spark as they talk. You recognize this voice as the one that came out over the loudspeaker. And in fact, you realize quite quickly there was no loudspeaker. They're just really loud. Oh. And this Ironbound goes, "This is a fine mess. How have you managed this?"
The ship doesn't turn that well.
Sorry.
Well, I don't mean to put, the onus of this on you, but nor does a tree.
To be fair, I think the tree might be able to turn a little bit better than the good old Zephyr. You know what they say, the wind picks a direction and goes.
They probably do say that. And about trees, they don't mention direction much at all because they don't move that often. Although you definitely moved us when you hit. But look, I know it's not your fault. And by that, I mean it's entirely your fault. But we have bigger problems. That storm that you've been calling, that's coming.
His name is Jaw. Well, I don't know if he uses he, him pronouns, but it's Jaw. It has a name.
I don't think the storm cares much about pronouns, but it is definitely called Jaw. We normally call it Bloody Jaw or that bloody storm or Jesus, things coming closer. But, call him he, him if you like. I'm open.
Have you thought that maybe that's why he's so angry? Because you're being kind of a jerk to him?
Look,
maybe he wasn't chosen to be a storm,
We've lived alongside Jaw for years, and he very rarely bothers us. Most of the time, chooses something to eat that we don't have much of. Now, mushrooms. If you haven't noticed, gestures up to the mushroom-covered branches. We got a lot of mushrooms here, and someone looks pointedly around at you all, has now bought us more. So all of our efforts to keep Jaw at bay kind of fallen apart now, haven't they?
Well, we have a very important mushroom over here that we don't want to get eaten either. So maybe it was you and all of your stuff that made it be like, hey, nom, I'm hungry for mushroom lunch.
So this is a good opportunity to, if you would like to, try to socially influence this Ironbound. If you would like to make some kind of social role, anybody, I am open to it.
The social roles would be like outwit, flourish, sway.
Yeah, exactly, perfect.
Or
if you share a language, you can also use the languages ones for social roles as well, which can be really
I
useful.
will certainly roll one myself.
Go.
I also have, I don't know if this will count, but I also have flourish point.
Flourish definitely helps. Okay. Yeah, flourish is being impressive in general. Again, skills are pretty broad. You can be as impressive with words as you like with flourish.
All right then. I do have a 6.
Ooh.
And
in that case, that is a triumph. I'm going to start.
I'd like to start also with, is it just me or are you a Morel? Because you're one and rare and exquisite fine.
Terrible.
Kinoko
I like it.
It's supposed to be terrible. She's supposed to be very awkward at flirting.
Do you also have a list of pickup lines? Because please.
I'm just very fast at Googling.
Mushroom pickup lines. God.
I will say, going into this game, I did not expect mushroom pickup lines, but I am enjoying them. So, yeah. As long as no one uses fun guy, that one's too easy. That's
Oh.
Yeah, I've been trying to avoid those.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I am starting a track, and I'm marking off the first box. It's only a 2-track, and this track is called Winning the Ironbound's Trust. You through just basic flirting, you have managed to soften his Ironbound's demeanor somewhat. He kind of looks self-consciously down and straightens out his beard a little bit and goes, "Look, maybe I'm too fast to assign blame. I don't know. Maybe you're nice people, but you've still brought us a whole boatload of trouble, and I mean that very, very literally. Maybe you could help us sort it out."
I have an idea. What if we try and find something that we can offer the storm instead to try and get it to eat something other than mushrooms? 'Cause, I mean, I don't want to get eaten.
Perfect.
Yeah, it changes every so often. So if we just find something really delectable that it would want to eat more, then we could sort of make the change happen inorganically.
Right.
That might actually work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to give it a go, I'm not going to stop you. But just so you know, you don't have much time left. I don't know if you know how fast that storm's approaching. A lot faster than it normally does. It really wants something you've got.
Oh.
Well, it can't have it.
It doesn't want to eat me, does it? Is it me? What
Look,
else have we got?
I'm no storm talker. Don't look at me. It could be the mushrooms. It could be a mushroom. It could be anything.
I want to try and talk to because there are mushrooms here, right? I want to try and talk to the mushrooms, do the thing, hang off the side of the ship. You know, you get the idea. Talk to the mushrooms, and just ask them,
Hey, mushrooms. I know that the storm is eating you a lot at the moment. Is there anything it's been going for in particular? Like, what is attracting it? What's going on?
Roll it. You have an edge, and you have your language, which for talking to mushrooms is now at a 3.
yeah, nice. Okay, so I'm going with instinct for this one. So instinct, language takes the place of skill, right?
Yeah,
So
it's always language or skill.
right. Okay, so instinct, language, and can I use the hallucinogenic aspect as well?
You can indeed. Yep.
Fantastic. So I'm rolling 5 dice.
Yeah. No cut on this one either. So.
Okay, that was a 4, and I got 2 lots of doubles.
Wow.
I'm not so lucky with rolls.
I should not be using my alien dice. I need to get new dice for this game. I should not be using the alien ones.
Well, if you're in the market for new dice, said Felix, going into salesman mode,
Here's a handy.
we have specific Wildsea dice, which are made of stone and ascribed with low sour, the language of sailors, a conscript I made myself because I was really bored during the pandemic. And if you, what did I do with the wooden ones? Oh, and if you're more a fan of wood, we also have wooden dice with the same low sour things. Multiple kinds of each. I don't actually think they're in stock right now, so I guess I'm the worst salesman possible. But they will be in a month, so you know that's something.
I want them all.
But yes, that is still a triumph for the twist. Oh no, a conflict with a twist because you didn't roll a 6. A conflict with a twist.
Yeah.
I'm going to play into the hallucinogenic part of this that you brought in with the aspect. These mushrooms, they don't talk back. They don't have a developed enough kind of sense of self to talk back, but you do get a kind of hallucinogenic burst of recent myconic memory. The storm has indeed been eating mushrooms, but as soon as your ship turned up, it stopped and started moving towards you, ignoring all other potential food in the way. The mushrooms themselves are also leaning away from you. You can see their stalks bend slightly as you bend closer to them. It looks like, Kanoko, you might be on the menu.
Well, shit. I think.
And hey, there's a twist, so that's open to the table.
Well, Kanoko is kind of drooping at the moment, like looking very sad.
Could be worse.
Yes.
What
Something
if
with a twist. I'm happy to
Try
supply
to-
one.
what if we try to convince Jaw to join us, you guys? Maybe Jaw is hungry for the
Friendship.
acid mall that's coming out of our engine room right
Oh, I would take that as a twist.
Since, the Zephyr does run on Voltic runners, it would be really beneficial to have Jaw be a part of our team, y'all.
If you want to take that as a twist, I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to go for Jaw believes it is attracted to Kinoko, but it's actually the smell of the acid maw mingling with Kinoko's hallucinogenic spores.
Ooh, there we go.
And that might be a lever to kind of bartering with Jaw if you come up on it. Yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. I need to write down more spores. Perfect. Okay. Brilliant. Do you communicate this to your new ironbound quote-unquote friend, or do you keep it to
We
yourself?
haven't learned our Ironbound's name yet.
No, and I wrote it down and everything, but you haven't asked.
Oh,
Hey, wait, what's your
cat is like,
name?
stop talking.
The ironbound goes, Farino. Farino is my name. Farino.
Thank you. Do you want to play? Are you hungry?
That's the cutest cat. Sorry, yes.
It's so cute. It looks so pissed right now. You goofball.
So yeah, Farino is your rivet-bearded ironbound semi sort of companion for now. And you have earned half of his trust.
I think Kinoko does try to communicate what just happened with the mushrooms. They say,
Well, I think it's after me, but because apparently as soon as we showed up, it stopped eating all the other mushrooms and went straight for us. I think it might be after me, but is it me or?
like, how do we work out that it's after the spores / stuff from our engine? Like, how would we have worked that out? Or,
It might be that the mushrooms that first seemed like they were bending away from you specifically are also bending away from the acid maw. So you connect those two together.
Okay.
Possibly from where acid is leaking out from your slightly broken ship.
Actually, yeah, that's a good point.
I'll also point out, like, when Harlan went kind of like zoom, some of our acid maw did spill out a little bit extra, and that's whenever like it really started going after us.
Perfect.
Oh,
Oops.
You've logicked your way into a good twist.
okay. How do we talk to it to get it to eat the acid instead of, well, me?
Farino can actually help with this one. He says, we do have a way, but it's probably easier to show you than tell you. Could you climb?
Climb, yeah.
I can fly.
I think
That
so.
definitely helps.
Well, I could climb, but I have to use 2 arms to hold this package.
I do know how to climb.
If you like, because there is no pressure, and you only really roll when things are dangerous, dramatic, or difficult, and you're not under a supreme pressure right now. The clock is ticking for the storm coming. You can climb up this chain after Farino and enter his small, tall, shanky territory.
Okay. Yep.
Okay.
Gonna do that. I'm gonna be like, oh, no, oh my, you sure can handle a girl.
I would like you to do a social roll for that one and see if you're not even earning Farino's trust in me, you're earning his admiration